Let's talk about SoFi. Many of us think that SoFi is about to explode, and we're getting more breadcrumbs here for that happening here. And I think there's going to come a day here sooner than later where a lot of people go, I wish I would have stopped short trading that. I wish I would have bought more at this price. And now I've messed up here. So let's kind of gather up all the information we have right now with SoFi and, bullet point this thing out and talk about what's going on here. So once again, another big week here with earnings, with a lot of companies producing earnings this whole week. And obviously Palantir's tomorrow, which is another hot stock that everyone is really paying attention to. And it's kind of like you talk about Palantir, you talk about SoFi, you talk about SoFi, you talk about Palantir. They're kind of always in the same conversation. But I've kind of said this before that I think, Palantir was a stock that was around $4 to $7 for a long time that we knew had a huge potential. And obviously these are two different companies, two different things. I get that. But the thing, as Palantir started to really move and, do better quarterlies, get contracts, bigger contracts, all that, we're starting to see this progression in SoFi as well. So this does lead a lot of us to suspect that SoFi could just jump one day. And when it jumps, it's going to get really expensive. And we're seeing more and more people at this point now, which is fantastic, really start to buy into SoFi. We're saying that, obviously, I think if you know, you know, but none other than Anthony himself, the CEO of SoFi, just bought almost 30,000 shares of the company on the 3rd, May 3rd here. So that's a pretty interesting thing that he bought that many shares, in which he already had shares, but this increased his shares to over 200,000. I'll put all this up here, obviously, so you can see it. But with that, that's getting a lot of people's attention. And I know there's, I don't know who watches who on YouTube. I have just two people that I kind of follow with what they're doing on YouTube. I really don't watch a lot of people. But what I am seeing with the theme and just, chat rooms, all that kind of stuff, we're seeing a lot more people be attracted to SoFi. We're seeing a lot more people buy in big to SoFi because we know at this point, okay, we're having quarterly after quarterly produce amazing results. We're projected to this time next year to see SoFi at an even bigger production with what they're doing. So the last two quarterlies, great. The third quarterly of last year, just missed it, but still not a terrible quarterly. So with this, SoFi, and this is another thing that people love about SoFi, that SoFi comes out and they talk about what's going on. They're not one of these companies where they just lay low. They don't talk about what's happening. They talk about the good. They talk about the bad. This is fantastic. And not only that, but we're seeing a CEO buy shares. I don't know how many people actually pay attention to companies and kind of dig into what they're doing, if there's companies that you invest in pretty deep and heavy in, do you pay attention to what the people inside the company are doing? I'm going to tell you one thing. You don't really see CEOs buy up shares of their own company. It's not something you see a lot. It's usually the other way around. Usually they're selling off shares, and it leads people to go, this isn't good. This is not good. This is not the conversation we want to be having here. It's quite the opposite right now. So with a lot of people here, I'm drinking the juice here. I'm fully convinced that SoFi, with the numbers, with the popularity growing of it, and just the overall company massive growth of what it's going to be producing here in the next 5-10 years. And obviously this is a long play if you're doing it like that. This is going to be one of the newest and biggest banks in this essentially banking system, just to make it plain here. With what they're doing with their technology, with what they're doing, who they're going after. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but one thing about SoFi that you need to know is that SoFi goes after a younger generation. Especially, they're very well known for their student loan program, how they do that. And that was a whole thing, and that's one reason SoFi got so ripped apart during COVID, because student loans were on hold. So SoFi, this huge chunk of money that they had coming in, well, it just stopped. So what happened? Their quarterlies that were doing good pre-COVID, well, they just stopped because they were having all this money just stop coming in. And like other companies, they were laying off people and things were just, the whole world was in shutdown. So you're still seeing SoFi come back from all of that mess, and student loans just started up here not long ago if you really break it down in time-wise. So what does that mean? SoFi is attracting the younger generation. That means as these kids graduate out of college, what are they going to need? They're going to need cars. They're going to need houses. They're going to need loans. They're going to need a lot of money. And when they already have a history, a life with SoFi, and, SoFi trusts them and they trust SoFi, vice versa there, that's going to be great for you as an investor, because that's just money in the bank for probably that person's life. As they get a 30-year mortgage, they get a 10-year car loan, they, whatever they do, 10-year car loan, that's a lot, but, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. 5-year, we'll just go 5-year. I know somebody's going to say something in the comments, whatever. But whatever it be, these are things that we really need to, and this is a different kind of thinking when you're investing too. It's something you really need to think about. It's like another company that I've talked about in the past, and I don't know why I'm going to say this, but I'm just going to say this. It's like all these like Top Golf courses that are being built. I've got one being built close to where I live. These things are massive, but this is like, I made a video on this company 3 years ago and it got nowhere. And now that stock is going crazy and the company is going crazy. The newer generation is really attracted to this Top Golf sport. Well, it's not, you know what I'm saying, what it is, what they do. But it's growing. So we're seeing what I'm trying to say here is we're seeing the newer generation really push these new ideas, push these newer companies that, like, even 3-5 years ago, we were like, no. SoFi is just a little bank. It has its loan program. It has some unique system software, what it does. These conversations are changing rapidly. They're changing rapidly. So we're going into a new generation of investing, and I don't want to get into politics here, but I do believe that we're in a particular time right now with investing. I don't think a bull market is coming this year. What I do believe is that we are just in this grace period right now with the market where we're having some good, bad, a lot more bad days, but this whole market is buy market right now. This is buying opportunity. Next year, I think the crypto market, I think probably our market in general, depending who is in office, I think, I'm just going to say it. I think if Trump is in office, we're going to see a bull market. I'm not endorsing him, whatever. I don't care what people say, but that's just how it's going to be. Look through history and what that man focuses on for the market. He's probably going to do very well for the market. So selfishly, that's what I'm saying. So with that, I do think we are in buy opportunity. This time next year, you may not be buying, and most likely will not be buying SoFi at $7, $8, $10, or even $12. SoFi this time next year could be a $20 to $30 stock, especially if they keep annihilating these quarterlies and beating expectations of what these analysts are writing. We're in a gold rush right now of buying up stocks that have huge potential. Just 300 days from now, even 6 months from now, we could really see a push in the market, how it changes. So I think these are just big things you really need to think about right now with where you're focusing on. I know a lot of people focus on, day trades, week trades, whatever. That's great. That's where you're making money. But I would focus too on, I'm all about long-term trading. I love long-term trading. It works for me. That's what I do. In that, I really do believe SoFi is in that category of think where this company will be in 5 to 10 years, 10 years especially. Think where this will be. They're not going anywhere. SoFi is in a realm right now where it will soon start beating out these other huge national banks. Things like Wells Fargo, things like Bank of America. I believe in the future these banks could start to buy up each other, and there will only be a few. We could be talking about SoFi buying up some of these banks in the future as much as they're pushing right now, especially with the younger generation. They look slicker, they sound slicker, and they're doing slick work, and the younger generation likes that. And that's weird to say, but I am talking about like college kids, even millennials to a point. We're seeing, and what they are allowing people to do in a savings account right now, there's not a lot of other banks that are doing that. So, just talking about SoFi in general, I think you should look into them just as, as a bank. I really do mean that. I definitely have. So friends, I'm going to stop yapping here, and I just get so many comments about SoFi. I guess I don't talk about it enough, but I cannot stress enough how I really do believe we're going to look back on this a year from now and go, oh my God, I should have bought this, I should have held this, and I should have just been patient. And even if you have 1,000 shares to 10,000 shares, you're going to probably say, I didn't buy enough. And it's okay. None of us are going to buy enough because this stuff is probably going to be pure gold here in the future. Friends, I wish you all the luck in the world. I really do mean that. It's going to be a hot week in the market, up and down week, another one. A lot of big companies producing quarterlies. Let's see what happens. Friends, take care. Bye-bye.